Well, arriving here you can see the wooden walkways, there's lots of paths, and this is all next to the pump house. The pump house was important for all the ponds, all the water that is near the hunting lodge of Sint Hubertus. You can climb this tower, great lookouts to observe game, and a lovely view on this little region. What you see is all the water. These ponds have been made as the design, part of the estate, part of the hunting lodge. But what people did is that this was a marshy land, and still is. This water is there because the ground underneath is a loamy, clayish soil, and that soil is keeps the water in, it doesn't seep through. But what they did to create these ponds is to dig away all the sand. The floor, like the ground with clay, was then open. Wintertime, frost, and it all started to crack. And now what happened is that the bottom started leaking. So no ponds were possible. They had to cover everything with material you would also insulate your roof with or make that waterproof. A lot of work. So all the ponds you see now have a special layer underneath to make sure the water doesn't seep away. From 1914 till 1920 he worked on this estate. He designed the building, he designed the garden, the bridge, he designed the interior, and even that much as the cutlery, the porcelain, the knives and forks, everything. The house is made in a Berlage style. He is also known as an artist, an architect in Amsterdam. Lots of bricks. They believed in the pureness of the local building materials, and he also added lots of little arty elements with natural stone. If you would have an aerial view of the building, you would see the long tower. According to Henrietta, because she is the one who added the story of the legend of Saint Hubertus, then this will be a cross. And the side buildings, the little pavilions on the left and the right, will be the antlers of a deer. Hubertus was a nobleman who went out hunting on a Good Friday. And when he saw this deer, he saw as well that it had a lightning cross in between the antlers. He heard a voice, "Don't shoot a deer or you will not go to heaven." And he started to live a different life, a pious life, and he even became the Bishop of Liège. That is the city in Belgium that the Dutch call Luik. Saint Hubertus, he became the patron saint of the hunters, and Henrietta Krullenmuller, as a spiritual woman she was, and she loved the legend, she wanted to integrate this story into her house. Berlage did not particularly like that. He initially didn't plan that, but after all, Henrietta added the story to the building. They lived in this building from 1937, then it became their main house, until she passed away in 1939. In the house, it is really special. You can visit. You have to buy a ticket and you have to see what times are available. You can do that at the T-Dome, little gazebo on the side of the building, of course online, and it is open in holidays and weekends. A guided tour will take you through. The outside is lovely to see, but also the interior. They have rooms like a billiard room, a smoking room. They have a boudoir where she could change her clothes, right, if you have next to the bedroom. And what was really special in the early 1900s, that they had an elevator, an electrical elevator, and central heating. Not too common, very modern. The interior is in the style of Berlage. It's a bit of darkish, although not all the rooms, but it is so different. It is really nice to see. Here opposite the Krullenmuller Museum, I reached a monument for President Steyn of South Africa. And this is a total symmetrical park with a brick bench there in the back. And here's an explanation, and here's a photo of the park. Totally the cross again, the cross of Saint Hubertus, built up symmetrical, and in the back two red copper beeches. the entry of the Kröller-Müller Museum, and apart from the big red K, you can see again the antler and the cross coming back here at the wall. This Kröller-Müller Museum contains all the art of the Kröller-Müller family. When they, well, you can say they went bankrupt, the state purchased this park, and they got all the art as well as a donation. But the thing was that they had to make a museum into the national park, and this is what it was, what Mrs. Kröller-Müller never succeeded in making. There are some walls left where she started, but it never got finished. Then this is the museum nowadays that the Dutch government made, or maybe actually the foundation of the national park, because it's theirs. In here you need your museum pass, you need your time slot, ticket reservation. It includes so many art pieces. She collected, Mrs. Kröller-Müller, not only Van Gogh, there's 180 Van Goghs here, and that is the drawings, then 90 paintings of Van Gogh. Normally I think there's a permanent exhibition of Van Gogh paintings, that would be about 40, and those change. Then you have Seurat, you have Piet Mondriaan, there is Picasso, so many of the big famous artists from around 1900, 1930, they are in this museum. And in the back, through that long hallway, is the museum garden, the sculpture garden, which is just enormous and also has a back entry to the nature museum on the other side here in the middle of the park. Well, from every museum or every stop, they make you walk a little bitty to the fixed bike parking. Well, here we go again. Well, talking about the trails being wider, that is the case kind of the north part. I'm heading south now from the Kröller-Müller, and this is pretty much of a more narrow trail, and of course it's lovely to bike here. Always be careful of the sharp edges, that you don't get into sand and then steer back and fall, and stay on your side. Well, there's traffic coming up ahead. Hello. Silent pine woods. And finally, we're getting closer to the drift sands. And of course, I love being here. It would have been nice if there would be people behind me, like my group I normally guide. And on the other hand, it feels extreme to be in the Netherlands, not see the next church steeple, not see a house, not see too many people around. Very special. And I guess probably if we go to Soest near Hilversum, where I live, then we have the same kind of drift sand areas in these dunes that have been made with the wind, by the wind. But this is also a great place to see it. I just took a turn, 9 kilometers to Hoenderloo, with a tailwind I planned. Yoo-hoo! Pretty soon I think I will be overtaken by some people with their electrical bikes. Of course they will be faster than I am, but I'm happy on my white bicycle. And the only thing is now, well, down the hill or down the wind, that I cannot gear up. So then you start pedaling like crazy. Some squeak a little. If they're bad, always check before you go. And if they have soft tires, you can pump them up or choose another bike. And also if there's something wrong, there's repair places. Choose a good bike, kind of shake it if it rattles. Mine squeaks a little bit while pedaling. And often also the ribbons and the clickies on the seat, on the back, these black straps, they can really rattle, but if you turn those over a little bit, it's all fixed. And if you go down a hill, it's a super smooth ride. What a space. No drift sand, but gorgeous nevertheless. There are no villages in the park. There are a few houses of people that work for the forestry department, especially from the old days, but I guess you can count those on one hand. And ending this bike tour over the national park, the Hoge Veluwe, it's time for me to go home, and I hope you enjoyed it, got a good impression, maybe feel like going here for yourself. I hope so. And otherwise another part of the Veluwe, or some green, some areas where you can be almost alone in nature. Thank you for joining. I don't know where my next video will be, and I'll go with the flow and see where the wind will bring me. Thank you for joining. Bye. And it's not only, of course, that here the national park is interesting to visit. If you would go south, you have the south part of the Veluwe. There you will find the Postbank, and the Postbank is about the highest point of this part of the Netherlands, more than 100 meters high. Beautiful views, stunning when the heathlands are blooming in August. And that hill, if you have a bike and bike one of the trails in that area, there's even a hairpin. Like that high everything goes. The Postbank region, it's all free to enter, lovely area. If you go a bit more west of Arnhem, there is Oosterbeek, there is the Airborne Museum, and that is all about Operation Market Garden, Second World War, the bridge too far. And also there's of course things to find about that history in Arnhem. If you go a bit more to the north of Apeldoorn, there's Paleis het Loo. You have Radio Kootwijk with beautiful also drift sand areas, and there's so many things. Even near Vierhouten, a hidden village of the Jewish people in the war, and the local villagers helped them with food. You can still visit these huts, and I'll show you on the map where they are. So if you don't want to pay an entry fee to go into this park, there's many things to see in the Veluwe region. Way more than I just mentioned.